And we are live. Hello and welcome, everybody. This is Tidy Tea Time with Kiran Menon, Pooja Nair, Soumya Samuel, and me, Deepkanya Dhar. Hi,
Hello,
everybody.
hello,
Who's
hello. Welcome back.
welcome back? I know. I'm very, this topic today is something I feel is a great topic because I think it holds an answer for me somewhere. We're talking about bare minimum Mondays. Have any of you heard of this topic before we decided to pick it for TTT?
No.
Nope, no,
No, not
not
at
at
all.
all.
Okay. Great. I can give a quick intro, or we can all try and kind of give our own little take on what a bare minimum Monday means to each of us. Should we do that, Kiran? I want to start with you.
Bare minimum Monday for me is a Monday without nighttime calls.
Which night?
India
Right.
nighttime calls. Yeah,
Hmm.
On a Monday night, you mean?
correct.
Okay, fair
Good
enough.
answer.
Pooja?
I'm a bit confused about this bare minimum Monday thing. More just because, and this requires an explanation of what it is itself. Is kind of just easing into your week, taking Monday that we dread so much as the start of the week, and just sort of planning our week ahead, using Monday to plan ahead and be more productive. So, but for me personally, that doesn't always happen on a Monday. I mean, I might wake up on a Monday morning feeling productive. Of course, this here we're just overarchingly talking about the concept of an bare minimum day, but I don't know. I'm still trying. I don't know how much I resonate with the Monday aspect of it. It could be any day where I feel like, okay, maybe today, because it isn't about the planning of the entire week for me all the time, I guess.
Mm,
So, yeah, I guess it has to do with how you work as well. How you,
fair
yeah.
enough. It makes me think of how people will say that why do we need to have a Mother's Day because every day should be Mother's Day. So your answer was very like,
Is it
oh,
like that?
not bare Monday.
No, I'm not discounting having a day, or, I get it. I'm not saying it makes no sense,
Hmm.
but I'm just trying to like, figure it out in my head is all.
Sure.
Can someone define for me what bare minimum Monday is?
I think Soumya
Oh,
will
let
do
me go first. Yeah. I think I'll start with what I think it is for me. For me, if Monday is a bare minimum Monday, I'm either only doing calls or I only get to my deadlines. I can't do both, right?
Right.
Usually, Mondays end up having a lot of both, and by the end of the day, it feels like I haven't accomplished a lot of things that I wanted to, right? I think that is the feeling that bare minimum Mondays can help me get rid of, maybe, right? But to your question, Kiran, a lot of these trends are on TikTok, and why we don't get to know about it instantly is because we don't have a TikTok India to keep a track of these trends. But bare minimum Mondays comes from the same idea that I can't, I don't want to come to a Monday where there's lots that's on my plate to get done. Either that could be things that I carry forward from the past week that has a missed deadline and maybe I need to finish it off on a Monday, or it's a lot about planning for the week, which means I'm attending calls after calls after calls, and that can seem like an overload that can burn you out maybe even before your week starts. So yeah, that's where the whole idea of bare minimum Mondays come from.
So it's
Yeah.
basically doing no work. I didn't understand. So is it like
No,
no calls and no work, or what is it?
No. It's
This-
no.
it's it's what she said. It's about easing into the week, right? It's so it was started by this woman who's, by the way, also like an entrepreneur. She's founded her own company. She's a TikTok creator as well. Her name is Marissa Jo Mays. And so basically, she started this concept because her whole thing was, listen, and this is something I think a lot of us feel, right? Like we keep talking about Monday, oh God, like, oh no, the weekend is over. There's so much dread. It's a common thread. And for her too, like any one of us, it became this thing, I think she calls them Sunday scaries or something like that, where it's like, oh, you're not looking forward to starting the week. You already feel burnt out. You already feel like, there's too much and there's a lot of pressure, I think, that builds up before the weekend is even over. So you start the week, some of us might start the week saying, yay, I'm raring to go. Whereas many of us might start the week saying, another week, another
Yeah,
day.
But
So that's
what
where
has
it
that
started.
got to do with Mondays? That's what I'm trying to understand. Is that you're
that
dreading
was
everything on
my
a Saturday and Sunday, but it's not necessarily only because of Monday. It's because of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday that you're seeing ahead
Yeah,
of
it's
you.
the
So
work,
why
the
is it?
entire work week. And you are absolutely right. In fact, you're touching upon an important point here, right? And this is something I've been wondering about as well. My dog decided to chime in just at that time. But Samya, let me throw to you while I get my dog under control.
Yeah, sure. Bare minimum Mondays, definitely, Kiran, like you said, we are also dreading the rest of the week. But to a lot of us, it seems like there's a lot of load on that Monday, right? And if I have to pick up also from what Pooja said, why is it a Monday? If you're looking at making a Monday a bare minimum, then suddenly your Tuesdays become gonna become that Monday as well. There is that side to the entire discussion as well. If I am offloading
correct.
my Monday, does that mean that suddenly my Tuesdays become a Monday now?
Correct. Exactly.
True. Fair
So why
point.
does this trend make sense?
Yeah,
That
I
is
think
the
I feel
important
it's a
thing out,
yeah.
right?
There's a
Yeah.
certain majority, I guess, that like growing up, we've always been told or have known that you know it's the start of the week, and just as the start of the week, there's a lot of anxiety around it for a lot of people, and they've just finished a relaxed weekend or a hectic weekend, and then you have to again sort of focus and bring your mind to um, a, a set schedule for the rest of the week. So for a lot of people that might be a bit taxing, and therefore Monday is used to sort of plan the week out in a way that where you're keeping your self-care and your mental health in check, and therefore have a more productive and not busy week.
I think
I
it's also like a learned reflex, right? Like,
Yeah,
I think you mentioned that. It's, you start
yeah,
when you're kids, where on the Monday you suddenly have to, forget about all the fun that you had, get into your
mm,
uniform, pack your bag, make sure your homework is done, and then you're back to the grind, so to speak, where everything is where we didn't grow up where school was fun. We grew up where school was very regimented, and I think that is the feeling that we carry into the workplace as well, where it was, you were required to be on your best behavior, required to have your hair neat and tidy. All of these things we kind of carry, these negative associations, so to speak, with Monday begins from there, and we carry it into the workplace, which is really sad. um,
yeah,
it makes me wonder, like, what if I really love what I do? Like, for example, my 10-year-old, she loves school. Okay. So when I asked her, what's your favorite day of the week? She said, oh, I love Monday. I was like, really? Like, I was shocked to hear that. But part of me was like, that's why not? She loves Monday because she likes going to school.
yeah.
She likes meeting her friends. So if I enjoy the work that I do and the people that I work with, why should I dread this day? Right? It just makes you wonder. But that's just how work has been structured for all of us, right?
I think it's
Yeah,
shortchanging poor Monday
I
because it's
Yeah.
not it's
yeah,
it's
yeah,
not
yeah.
good for Monday. That's the problem, right? That means you're technically not happy with any day of the week. Like
Yeah.
Pooja and Savya said, Monday then becomes Tuesday. If you do a bare minimum Monday, then let's do a bare minimum Tuesday and a Wednesday and a Thursday and a Friday just to get through till the next weekend, right? It does not make sense. It doesn't work. Ideally, what you should be doing is trying to figure out how you can reduce your anxiety and stress during the weekend. That's probably the better answer than saying bare minimum Monday is what you need, because that doesn't make
Yes.
sense at all.
Yeah. It takes away the power from Monday. And you're right, Monday is like the fall guy, right? It is just like, let's make this the scapegoat and let's hate on Mondays because it's easy for us to kind of pinpoint that one moment in your week that where you feel all your anxieties begin, which is not true. Actually, it might even begin on the Sunday evening. That's where your anxieties begin. But I think she
Right.
makes a good point, this Marissa, because she says that this is not about productivity. It's not about any of those things. It's about allowing yourself the time to say that, okay, if this is what is causing anxiety, let me do something about it. And what can you do about it? By taking the pressure off. Okay, let me not set up any meetings on this day. Let me not have deadlines on this day. Instead, let me give myself time to ease in, read, maybe journal, maybe start, plan my week ahead slowly rather than trying to be like chop chop, start the week off with a bang. That takes away all that pressure, right?
I think that's been my experience too. Like, if I have to draw from my personal experience, on weeks when I start Monday with a bunch of things to do, I feel like that sets that tone for the rest of my week as well, in terms of extra things on my to-do list, ultimately feeling like I've not accomplished anything. I think few weeks ago when I was unwell and I almost had to take Monday and Tuesday off, which meant I was getting minimum stuff done on that day. I was prioritizing really well, right, in terms of what needs to be done on those 2 days. By the end of that week, I actually got a lot more stuff done, because that entire chop, 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 get things done, that monkey mind of jumping from this to that wasn't happening. So I think it also comes down, and it's not just for Mondays, right? How can we prioritize to bring things to bare minimum to accomplish as well as individuals? Then it becomes about personal self improvement and as organizations as well. What are those bare minimum 1 to 3 things that we do to get the most impact? And then how do we kind of eliminate the rest? Like busy work, what we do at Tidy for HRs.
Oh, good
This.
plug over there.
I'm sorry?
Sorry, say that again.
I said it was a good plug over there for that. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a commentary also on the fact that the BBC. I think it was another Harvard Business Review story that talked about how people are pushing back against hustle culture, right? They're saying that no, it's not about this anymore. But it makes me wonder, right? Is it really about that? I mean, while you can start looking at yourself, about focusing on self care to a large extent, does it mean that we need to do less work, or we just need to be smarter about how we work, right? Because I feel like this is again just a tool to be smarter about how we work, still have in fact improve your output if anything by removing the mental pressures and the load that we put on ourselves, which is so unnecessary perhaps.
That's
You
true.
don't feel
Yeah.
the need for bare minimum Monday, no, ever?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, I think as an entrepreneur, I would like to have bare minimum every day, because even a Saturday Sunday does not make much of a difference. For me, it's the
Hmm.
other extreme. But I think for me, it's really important to get a sense of where things are on a Monday, right? So whether it's sales, whether it's like our marketing calls, whether it's account management, whatever it may be, is to understand where we are at, so that if there are fires, I know what's coming up. If things are going well, I know where to kind of double click on. If I need to do something in order to help the company, then I know what I need to do for that week. So I think it becomes really important to kind of prioritize Monday over every other day.
I'm wondering, what if it's just a thought experiment again, right? What if we flipped it and said, do the update call on a Friday, say, okay, because there you're evaluating what's happened through the week. And then say we touch base again, not on a Monday, because after all, everyone is coming out of the weekend, right? It's not like, you're not expecting people to have put in much work during that Saturday and Sunday. So you've done a call on a Friday where you've evaluated what has been accomplished and you've set goals for the next week. And then you touch base only on a Tuesday or a Wednesday because that still gives you those 2 days. And then that midweek marker is a good place for you to then decide, okay, now next 2, 3 days, this is what we need to accomplish and close the week out. Doesn't that make more sense somewhere?
I think Friday is the easiest day for everyone. If you think about it, everyone is slacking off the most on a Friday, and it's natural. Everyone's looking forward to the weekend. You're really trying to think only about the beer in the evening and not much else. And doing calls on a Friday, and this is from experience, does not work. There are 100 cancellations that will always happen. There'll be 1,000 excuses for those 100 cancellations, and it just is the most unproductive day from that perspective. So I actually think Friday is way more unproductive than any other day, and it's okay. That's probably if you wanted to classify the week as a 4-day work week, Friday is usually always a half productive day for most people.
If we had a 4-day work week, would we get rid of a Friday or a Monday? What's your vote?
Oh, 100% Friday.
Okay. Pooja?
A Friday for sure. Yeah. I
Someone?
like having
Friday,
options.
Friday already vibes like a holiday, like it had already said, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Yeah, I guess.
But
I
I
mean,
mean, eventually it'll all even out, right? Then okay, if you did Friday, Monday would still be the bad guy, or if you got rid of Monday, the Tuesday would be the bad guy. So one way or the other, it's basically about coming back from a weekend slash holiday. I think that's the real thing, because
yeah.
again, it's about, oh God, work means regimented. Work means I have to sit down in one place. Holiday means I'm free. I'm free to do whatever the hell I want. So
Mm.
that
I mean, it's
way,
like we have this Monday that's May 1st, which is coming up, and in most parts of the world, that's Labor Day, and except in the US, but that means it's a holiday. So
mhm,
suddenly there's no Monday, but then Tuesday is actually the bad guy now,
yeah.
right? You've actually transferred all of that stress and anxiety to a Tuesday, so it's basically someone saying, "I just don't want to work." And I think that is the bigger problem than what was it called again? Bare minimum Mondays, right?
Yeah.
I think also as a as maybe a founder and someone who is responsible for the entire organization and the performance to investors, to shareholders, to customers. Um, it becomes, I would say, increasingly complex to not plan for the week ahead with all these various teams. And as you continue to grow, it becomes really important that all teams are aligned on day one. You don't
Mm,
want them aligned on Friday because when they come back on Monday, they're going to forget everything. You
mm.
want everyone to be aligned on a Monday so that everyone's driving in that same direction for the rest of the week, right? And so it becomes really important. Monday is probably the most important day of the week, or whatever the first day of the week is. That's the most important day of the week. So for me, the bare minimum Mondays just does not make sense.
Yeah, what I mean, I think you are right because again, maybe if you do that meeting on the Friday, then you'll have every meeting you'll end up having a list of things to do. And then if you have your to-do list on a Friday, maybe that's adding a lot more pressure, perhaps. Though I don't know.
I think my
Yeah.
experience has been different on that front. Like to have a to do ready on a Friday does not really mean that I come on a Monday forgetting all of that. It sometimes also means that I come on a Monday with fresh ideas because I was resting, and we tend to see rest as non productive. But when I'm resting, I've got these moments that, oh, or I read something and I'm like, oh, this can go into that article that I need to finish off on Monday, right?
Hmm.
So I feel rest, break from work, that time off, that bare minimum period, no matter whether it comes on a Monday or a Tuesday or a Saturday, Sunday, has an impact on my productivity in that sense, though we always tend to think that it takes away from that focus and productivity. And that's why Monday feels like a better day to have these calls because you're then aligned for the rest of the week. Because rest of the week you're only focused on work or more focuses on work during those days.
Mm.
That's been my personal experience.
We have a
Oh,
comment. Ajay, and I put that on the screen, which where he says, "Bare minimum Monday sounds like shorthand for I don't particularly like what I do, if not for the money." So, I mean, I think this is what you're saying, Kiran, that it's probably a problem with what you do and your attitude to work in general, and it's not Monday that's the issue, right?
Yeah.
But do you think is there some connection between these kind of trends that are constantly popping up? Before this, we had quiet quitting, right, where people were talking about how they were doing bare minimum work. Is there a connection between the two things?
I think you know 20 years ago when I started working, I did not have the kind of exposure that a 20-year-old has today. The
Hmm.
opportunities that are available, the various models that I can use to earn an income so that I can enjoy the rest of my life. Right? It was a very standard 9 to 5 sort of regime that you were a part of. A lot of these, and I'm very open to ideas, but a lot of these seem like they're just attempts to reduce the amount of responsibility and
Hmm.
just be able to kind of be able to do just the bare minimum, like you said, in order to get what you need from a salary perspective and enjoy the rest of your life, which is great. I hope everyone could do that, but unfortunately that isn't the reality.
But is that what it is? Because, again, when we started working, we're talking about many, many years ago, we didn't have these channels in which to talk about work in this way. In fact, nobody spoke about work in the tone that we have today, because you were worried about how you would be perceived by your bosses, by leadership, by future, prospective employers, because work is worship. We grew up with that kind of a attitude towards your job. Whereas today, it's a lot more about work-life balance. It's a lot more about, you should care about yourself, about your time. You're not your job. You're more than your identity is more than, the work that you do. There's so much about that. But I don't think people are actually working less. I mean, the people who wanted to work 20 years ago were working. People who didn't really want to work 20 years ago didn't really do the work. And you had slackers even then. You have slackers even now. So has that really changed? I would be
No,
very
I'm not.
interested.
I don't think I was saying that. What I was saying is we were happily clueless and ignorant about
Hmm.
the opportunities that were available. So for us, you do your 9 to 5, go back home, come back, do your 9 to 5. Today, you ask a 22-year-old or a 25-year-old, they want to travel the world and it's possible. In our time, it was possible, but it was a lot more restricted, right? And 20 years does not seem like much, but in terms of the employment world and the world of work, it has been equal to about 100 years of change, right? So I think also there are a lot more kind of avenues now to express yourself. You don't want to be in a job that is strangling you, versus earlier you didn't have a choice. Right, today you have a choice. We keep saying this in all of our marketing collateral as well. It's gone from an employer's world to an employee's world, where the employee actually holds all the cards and is really the most important asset in an organization, right? So I think all of those kind of elements have drastically changed the opportunities available, and which is why everyone's now a lot more conscious and a lot more thoughtful about things like this, and that's why some of these trends start coming up. Will they stick? I don't think so. I don't
Hmm.
think they will, because unfortunately, capitalism is more important than anything else in this world, and large businesses are not gonna make less profits.
Yeah. I mean, the point about hustle culture that we were talking about earlier, right? You said it a couple of times right now. We did our 9 to 5 and we came back home. But what happened in the last few years was it was no longer a 9 to 5. It was from the minute you opened your eyes and looked at your phone to the
Yep.
minute you closed your eyes and went to sleep, right? Because work follows you everywhere today if you give it a
Yep.
chance. I think
Actually,
maybe
that's super important because we never had our mobile phones at that point, right? It was very rare to kind of have mobile phones, and if so, you weren't getting WhatsApp pings and Slack messages and emails and what have you. Today you have all of that. So definitely the emotional pressure has increased.
Hmm.
But I think there have to be other ways in which that's dealt with rather than trying to reduce the amount of time that you have to work.
Yeah. I mean,
I really
Arjun,
don't.
sorry, we have a comment
Yeah,
from Arjun saying again, same thing, which is it's psychological. If you enjoy your work, you look forward to going to work. If you don't love it, you'll hate it on any day.
I think I have to kind of challenge this, right? Because Ajay said the same thing. I think to a great extent, Kiran, you said this as well. I disagree with the fact that if you love your job, you'll come on a Monday feeling your best, right? You can be really passionate about your work and still be burnt out. And if you look at it, the people who are most passionate about their work are also people who get tend to burn out more because they tend to put in that amount of time into their work without realizing how much it's kind of affecting them in the rest of their lives. So I think that could be a misconception in terms of you love your work, you'll come back feeling good on a Monday. I think that's
I
one
don't think I
perspective.
said that. I don't think I said that particular statement. I didn't say that if you love your work, you'll come on Monday totally refreshed.
No, I think
Uh,
she's the comments did say
Yeah,
that.
yeah, there was, yeah, the comments did
you
say
clubbed
that.
me into it as well. I don't think I particularly said that. What I was saying is that Monday is the most important day. It's my own
Right.
company. Do I feel stressed as hell on a Monday? Oh, hell yes. I do not like Mondays because of that. Because it brings me back to a world which is very real. On Saturday and Sunday, I might have a few calls and, think about business and blah, blah, blah. But on Monday, it comes back to a very real situation where there are customers and issues and investments and, how do you keep the company afloat and blah, blah, blah. There are so many things that suddenly pile up on you on a Monday, not even at 9 o'clock, but maybe the moment you wake up, right? So I love what I'm doing. I don't know if I can work for anyone else anymore, but is is it that it suddenly magically makes Monday beautiful for me? No, it doesn't. But
The
what I'm
question
saying
is
is it's
how
very
do you.
important.
It's interesting because you're coming to the same point, right? How loaded a Monday usually is. That's the same experience that you are having. So how do you manage it without feeling burdened by all of that? I think our answer lies there.
With a smile on my face.
Hmm.
No, but I think the problem, and I think the problem, and I'm reading into a lot of this. Obviously, I don't know, what made this up, what they had in their mind, whatever it may be. But I'm assuming the reason is because fundamentally Mondays becomes very unstructured. You might have a lot of calls, but there is a lot of unstructured parallel things that happen on Monday. On a call, there will be things you hadn't planned for, which suddenly prop up and say, "Oh shit, we have this issue. We have to solve for it." Right? And it's immediate, it's priority number one, and it's critical. So make sure it's done in the next 2-3 days. I think that's primarily the problem with the first day of the week, more than the fact that you have meetings or that you have work that you need to do. It's not even about the to dos. It's not because you'll always have to dos. It's not like magically one day you're not going to have any to dos. You're always going to have to dos. All of us do. I mean, anyone who says that they don't have to dos, well, tell me where you work and I want to join that. But the point is, I think Mondays becomes very unstructured in the sense that it suddenly throws up a lot of surprises and a lot
Yeah.
of unplanned things, and that's the
Yeah.
stress. You don't know what you're stepping into more than the calls or the number of calls.
I
So that then makes me wonder about autonomy here, right? Because again, the people who can decide on, say, that I'm going to have a bare minimum Monday and this is how I'm going to structure my day, probably have a lot of say in terms of how their calendar is going to look. So the higher you climb the rungs of in the corporate world, you'll probably have more control. Versus if you're starting out, if you're very junior, you don't have that control. Yeah, you can't turn around and say, "Hello, I'm having a bare minimum Monday."
I
So
think
how do
it's
you
the
do it?
opposite, by the way. I think it's definitely the opposite, at least for me. I mean, as the CEO of the company, no, it's not what I
What?
can do whatever I want to
I
do.
I think it's interesting, Kiran, because I had the same conversation with I think 4 5 of my friends. about what do you think about bare minimum Mondays. And the two things that really came up, one was meetings, right? The number of calls that we have on a Monday, which comes from different directions. So it's not just your regular scheduled calls, but there's some fire that's happened somewhere. So
Yeah.
there's this random call that's added to your schedule,
Yeah.
and a lot of different things that's asking my attention on Monday. I don't want that. I
Correct.
need to figure everything out that day before I can start doing all of those things. I think
Yeah.
that's the anxiety around a Monday that everyone kind of
Correct.
faces.
Or
Correct.
as the boss, you can just mandate and say, Monday, no calls, no deadlines. I've decided. And that's how
It's
it's going
not
to
about a
be.
deadline on a Monday. That's the problem. It isn't. It is about the deadlines that are post Monday that you discuss on a Monday, and that's the stress, right? Because on a Sunday you did not know that there was a fire that you had to put out when you come in on a Monday, or
Mm.
oh shit, the website's down, or this customer has raised this
God
big issue.
forbid.
Yeah, the customer has raised this big issue and we need to address it this week, otherwise it's going to escalate, right? So I think it's that, and it's not even about the number of meetings that are pre-scheduled in your calendar. You can do that, that's no problem. Our marketing calls are fun calls, they're not really stressful calls. I would assume you all can be very honest over here,
Little do you know.
um, but the point is, that's not what is stressful for a Monday. What
Mm.
is stressful is suddenly something that comes out of the weeds and says, rears its like ugly head out and says, "Oh shit, this needs priority and attention." So
Mm.
unfortunately, I don't think that can be solved. Even a bare minimum Monday is not going to solve that. If there's a priority, you can say how much ever you want. I don't want to take calls, but it's going to come up on you.
Yeah, true. I think it's still interesting that these trends are coming up, though, because it's at the end of the day, it's all about how people choose to cope with what they have to do, how people choose to structure their lives, I guess. And it's a good thing to have these conversations. It's a good thing to have these as little, hacks to get through life. And why not? I'm looking forward to the next one because that's what we do here, right? We just find these trends and then we try to make sense of them. This one, does this make sense? Let's have a quick vote before we leave. Yes or no? Pooja?
Not really, no.
No.
Maybe, yeah.
That's a maybe,
More on
yeah.
the no, though. More on the no. The Monday aspect of it, I don't know. Not really.
Not really. Okay, Samya?
Yes, from a personal level, not from an organizational level. Like everyone individually, how do you make your Mondays bare minimum? I
Hmm.
think yes.
Kiran?
Hell no.
I think that's pretty apparent. It's pretty
Please,
clear.
our marketing calls on Mondays continue.
Well, we can move it to a Tuesday, but it's going to be the same call, so it doesn't matter.
No, I'm okay with our Monday calls, but I think it's a good attitude to have to Mondays.
Yeah.
It's an attitude thing. It's not about, oh, I'm not going to do so much work. It's just that I'm not going to stress about finishing everything on a Monday. I think that's what it is. And I think there's a place for it. And it makes sense. Like you said, it's personal as well, right? How you want to take it and apply it to your life. Well, our time is up. So, everybody, thank you so much. That was a fantastic debate, as always. Do join us again for Tidy Tea Time next Thursday at 4 p.m. for a brand new topic. Until then, goodbye from all of us.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.